everyone, this is In-Game Mars. We're doing another boxing and a breakdown of the demo. This is Resident Evil 1, the original first released version of the game on the PlayStation 1. Now this is oftenly referred to as the Long Box Edition, or Resident Evil Long Box. As I said, this is the original first Resident Evil game, and I haven't really sat down and talked about this version because Resident Evil 1 comes with massive nostalgia for me. Oddly enough, not in terms of me playing it, but me watching my father and my brothers play it. Because, I'll be honest with you, back when I was a kid, I was too scared to play it. I remember just sitting there being terrified, holding my pillow as I watched my dad and my brothers running through and zombies popping out and being so scared, but still always eager to see more of it because it was just so enthralling. And I remember when I finally sat down and played it myself when I got much older, and it's just a great game. And when I come back to it, I still remember it fondly. Now, some people might say I'm going into this with nostalgia, and maybe you're right. But even for its time and now, it's still a decently well-made game that it doesn't deserve to get the credit that a lot of people don't give it for. Now, most people compare it to Resident Evil 2, which is in itself a great sequel, and they did everything right with Resident Evil 2. But the Resident Evil 1 really brought a foundation and brought so much to the table that a lot of people nowadays just don't appreciate. Yes, the game has somewhat dated graphics and some bad voice acting, but the other aspects of the game with survival horror, as well as the feel of threat, a limited supply of ammo, and just the fear of difficulty into the game for its time, was just something unseeable and undeniable for how much influence it did to gaming. Now, in terms of gameplay experience, playing the original one has its downfalls in certain areas due to the fact it doesn't have joystick support. Now, there are iterations nowadays that have joystick support, so that's great and all, but going back to the D-pad, you can notice the hindrance of the time, but it's not game-breaking or anything like that. It's just you do notice it. Now, the one thing you're going to definitely notice from this version to the version that most people probably have played is the Director's Cut version, that both versions, the original and the Director's Cut version, have different soundtracks. Now, there's been many arguments which one's the better soundtrack, and I'm just going to cop out. I like both. They both have their own charm and uniqueness to them. I like both and I love both. But in the end, they both give you great atmosphere and get you in depth into this world. It gives you the feeling of just dread and hopelessness that the Resident Evil series games are known for, at least the older ones, and now they're rebooting it and bringing back the survival horror. The original one is just near and dear to my heart because it's just so much fun, even coming back to it now, and just even with the cheesy voice acting and voiceover. At this point in time, it would be weird not to have the cheesy voice acting. It gives it its own charm, and it gives it this like 90s feel to it, like old 90s movies and stuff like that. There's a bit of enjoyment out of that, and it's one of the games I'm really proud to have on my shelf, and I have multiple variations of Resident Evil 1 on my collection, and I'm happy to have the original long box in such good condition with the manual and everything like that. That's why I love older games, the manuals. But as I said, I'm wondering how many people have fond memories of Resident Evil. I'm sure many people have got great memories with the Resident Evil series, but how did you feel? Were you scared like me when I was a kid? Then did you go into it and unable to play it? Because some people had a problem with the tank controls. Then you are eager to see maybe if they do a remake of the series, then with newer tank over-the-shoulder action-pack gameplay style, or would you like to see more of this tank control fixed camera angle? Now, again, as I've said before, I'm not really with or against the series going in its own directions. I am just a big fan of this format of tank controls and fixed camera angles. I have nothing against going first-person mode or going over the shoulder or anything like that. It doesn't give or take away anything from the game. It's just there is a charm to fixed camera and tank controls, and maybe we can hope that indie developers will eventually make a new iteration version or a new series might come out with this playstyle. I don't like the idea of any kind of gameplay or any style being obsolete and people thinking that it's too old and outdated, which is largely untrue. I'm going to get a bit off track. Resident Evil 1 is just something that's near and dear to my heart, and just hearing the sound effects, hearing the music, hearing the voice acting, and all that stuff, and just replaying the game so much. When I was a kid and everything like that, and then when I finally started playing it again, I played the game so much. I made so many different kind of playthroughs in the game. Go through the entire game without getting hit. Go through the entire game without using specific weapons. And this is the only in this series ever that I beat the entire game with only a knife. Now, I can't do that anymore now, but back when I was a kid, I had a lot more free time. But just, like I said, it has a lot of impact to me. And I'm just wondering about your stories and what you felt when you played this game. And it's just, I know I'm kind of gushing right now, but it is near and dear into my heart. I could never stop coming back to this game, no matter what kind of new iteration they'll come out with, what remake they make. I will always come back and play the original at some point in my time. So, like always, I will leave links down in the description if you're interested in a copy. I can't guarantee you'll get like a long box version or something like that. They're starting to get harder and harder to get, but keep an eye out. I say it's still well worth your time to get into your collection, especially if you're a big fan of the PlayStation 1 or you're a big fan of collecting the long box edition versions. So thank you all for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos from me, and I'll see you guys in my next episode. Bye bye.
Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Barry Burton, Rebecca Chambers, Albert Wesker, Resident Evil.